tall and imperious, stepped out of the swirling mist and grabbed the bridle of one of the horses. Behind her glided a stately, dignified black woman, also tall. The black woman held 2 reticules, a small carpet bag and a black bag that looked like a doctor's bag. "Look at their clothes," Mary breathed. "Even the colored ladies. They must be really rich." "Yes, must be," Jeremy agreed thoughtfully. The women were dressed in dark traveling clothes, which were stained and dusty, but of obviously fine quality. On this muggy spring morning of April 1866, they wore no mantles or capes, but fine tailored jackets with tiny tucked-in waists that matched their voluminous skirts. Jeremy opened his mouth to say something else, but in the next moment several things happened that drove his comment out of his mind. The woman who held the horse's bridle was trying to calm the horse, but the nervous creature seemed to be even more frightened by the feather plumes waving on her bonnet. Also, the woman's wide skirts kept hitting his forelegs, and he began rearing in earnest, trying to get away from this new irritation. At the same time, 2 dock workers tossed 2 very large trunks onto the deck of the ferry. Loud bangs split the fog-muffled sounds of the busy docks. The ferryman, safely ensconced in his little wheelhouse at the fore, sounded the blare of the foghorn to alert all unseen vessels of his position in the soupy fog. The side wheels began to turn, the ferry groaned and wheezed and lurched away from New Jersey. The horses protested all this unwelcome activity by vehemently rearing and kicking the air. Skillfully, Shiloh ducked the dangerous hooves and managed to grab the bridle of the horse the woman was attempting to hold. "Get away, Doc! You're just spooking him more!" The woman had lost control of the horse and knew it, but she obviously didn't like it. Stalking back over to the black woman, she grabbed her reticule and the doctor's bag and called, "I told you we should have put blinders on them." "Yeah, Doc," Shiloh shot back between gritted teeth, "and earmuffs, too." The horse on his left surged forward, yanking Shiloh a step backward. The tendons in his neck stood out from the strain of trying to hold each of the bridles with one hand. Jeremy shot forward and grabbed the bridle of the horse on the man's left. The horse reared again, almost lifting Jeremy off his feet, but gamely he held on. The tall man glanced down at him grimly but said nothing. Together they fought and struggled to hold the horses. Finally the geldings gentled down, though they shivered and showed the whites of their eyes. "Shiloh Irons," the man gasped. "I'm Jeremy Blue," the boy answered, equally breathless. "You must be stronger than you look, Jeremy Blue." "You better hope so, mister." Why?" "Because—" Cheerily the ferryman blared the foghorn again, and Shiloh and Jeremy fought to keep control of the frightened horses. They seemed to quiet down a bit sooner this time, however. "Seems like they're getting used to it, huh, Mr. Shiloh?" Jeremy remarked when he caught his breath again. "Oh, sure, they're real smart," Shiloh grunted. "Probably only take 10, 12 more blows on that horn for them to quit getting spooked. By the way, this is sock I'm holding, sort of, and that's stocking you've got. Call him by name, calms him down." "Yeah, I can see that it helps a lot." Jeremy grinned. Shiloh's head swiveled sharply to look down at the impudent young man. Jeremy Blue was 16 years old, thin and angular. He had tousled brown hair, thick and curly, and brown eyes too big for his face. His wrists stuck out of the 2 short sleeves of his worn black coat, and his shapeless gray pants had a neat black patch on one knee. The pants were tucked into sturdy leather boots, however, which were painstakingly polished and shined. Shiloh saw an odd-looking wand of some sort that swung from a loop on Jeremy's belt. About 2 feet long, it seemed to be a hollow metal rod with a loop at the end. Shiloh also noted the hilt of a knife sticking out of the top of Jeremy's right boot. Unexpectedly, Shiloh grinned down at him, and Jeremy thought it was rather like a sudden crack in a granite rock. Shiloh Irons' face was hard, with a 2 or 3 day growth of beard, and his blue eyes were remote and icy. Shiloh's gaze shifted up to a point behind Jeremy's shoulder. "Doc,"